In this lecture, we're going to talk about the cerebrovasculature or neurovasculature. So for those of you who have already gone through Dr. Fox's lectures on the vascular system, you've already seen this diagram. And so this is our basic circle of Willis. And it's kind of a circle, sort of, kind of. I kind of think of it as some kind of little guy with legs. But anyway, there are two main blood supplies to the brain, and they all come together here at the circle of Willis. So the internal carotid artery, which is coming in here, and the two vertebral arteries, which are coming in from down here. And for those of you who have already mastered the vascular system, do you remember what the source of both of these arteries are? Yes? No? Well, anyway, I'll tell you. It is the subclavian arteries. And so, again, sorry for all the words, but it's just to help you put this in context so that you know we'll name all the parts on the model, and then we'll name all the parts on the base of the brain. Okay, so we have our two vertebral arteries here and here. These come together and form the basilar artery. The basilar artery has several branches. It has the superior cerebellar artery and the posterior cerebral artery. The posterior communicating is what helps make the circle, and it connects the vertebrals and the basilars with the internal carotid. The internal carotid then has two major branches, the middle cerebral artery and the anterior cerebral artery. To complete the circle, we have the anterior communicating artery. There are lots of other little branches, pontine branches. These are little branches in here are going to feed your hypothalamus, and that's not really, if you're a neurosurgeon, you know where they all are. But the bottom line is, what I want you to know are the ones that are labeled. And so in the next image, we're looking at the base of the brain, okay? And one of the reasons you know it's the base of the brain is that we can see our olfactory tracts. That's pretty cool. So again, here is our internal carotid. This little squiggly here is our posterior communicating. The internal carotid splits into the middle cerebral artery and the anterior cerebral artery. And then here, you can just see, I'm going to erase this right now so that I don't obscure the imagery for you. You can just see the anterior communicating. It's very small. This again, okay, posterior communicating, internal carotid. And here's our basilar, which is formed by our two vertebrals. And these also have some branches. So the pica, or the posterior inferior cerebral artery, branches most often from the vertebral artery. Once the vertebrals come together to form the basilar, we have another branch here, and then it goes under this cranial nerve and comes out over here, and that is our anterior inferior cerebellar artery. And then branching up here just before the posterior cerebral is our superior cerebellar. Once you get used to this terminology, it's a little tongue-twisty. There's cerebellar and cerebral arteries. There's anteriors and inferiors and superiors and middles. But you practice it a couple of times. Practice drawing this imagery, the one from the diagram, or practice labeling this in your spare time, and you will learn all of the arteries. And in the next segment, we'll talk about some of the specific areas that these arteries perfuse.